All righty. Welcome to another episode of Angels and Demons podcast. Our guest today is Eddie, better known as Eddie the Kite Guy.
Kite Guy.
Tell me, when was the last time you truly felt free? Not distracted, not stressed, just fully present in the moment. What started as a single walk with my fiance and I along the beach to clear our minds because something was bothering us. Out over the shoreline to the distance, a giant kite moved effortlessly through the sky. It was powerful, it's graceful, almost alive. And at the center of it all, it was Eddie. Welcome to Angels and Demons podcast.
Thanks
Eddie.
for having me. Thanks for having me, Vinny. It's a great honor to be here.
That moment of walking on the beach, in my mind, being in a place that was just, to me, troubled. It was a moment of distress in my life, and I see this enormous kite in Neptune Beach, Florida, flying in the sky.
That's
and
great.
all I said to my fiance is, I've got to walk over and meet this man. So tell me, what inspired you to bring joy and happiness to people like me?
Well, it's part of our beach life, actually. It's whenever me and my wife, we go to the beach, and it's a routine now that we have to go out there, have to grab some kites. We grab our chairs, we go out there and we fly kites, and we fly. I just use my imagination, and I fly whatever I have in my bag, and I put it up, and we get to choose the colors to put up. And we love watching everybody's reactions when they walk by, take pictures, ask questions, like yourself, lift their spirits, maybe just for a moment, and just to be present, in life, and to enjoy the surroundings. So it's like we're almost painting the sky. It's what we try to do. We paint the sky with our kites and with our colors. And my wife, she helps me out a lot in picking the kites and putting them up and all the things.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people, if you're just touching my life and helping me in a difficult moment, I can only imagine all the other people that you're helping,
Yeah,
There's something as simple as flying a kite, but it's not so simple as flying a kite. Like you just mentioned your wife helping you.
Yes, I couldn't do it without her help. Right.
What is the process of getting that kite up in the air?
The hardest part is just getting the kites to the beach, just walking them down, and it's a lot of kites. So we walk them down. It takes sometimes a couple of trips to come down, and then we got to unpack everything, untie all the knots that I've put in there. And she's really good with that. And she fluffs the kites for me. And I need somebody to hold the string while I put the kite up in the air, because it's a two-man job.
Us men are making knots.
Yeah, making knots.
Our beautiful ladies behind us, they're going behind and critiquing
fluffing,
everything.
Yeah. She's like, maybe you should do this. But
that's awesome. Yeah. So there is an art to getting the kites the size that you were flying. Seemed like they were bigger than a kitchen table.
Yes, they are.
Like a kitchen table, 6 to 10 people. So like when the first piece that goes up, what is that?
So the first piece that goes up is my pilot. I call it my lifter kite. That it holds all my other attachments, which I call my laundry. So it's like having a laundry line, and I'll put a piece of laundry, every 20, 30 feet. But the first part is just getting it up. That's pretty easy. The wind is pretty steady around here. And so I could just get it up, and I have to have my wife hold the reel, and then we'll let some string out. And then I'll tie another piece of laundry on there, a tail or a fish or whatever I have that's in the bag. And I'll go up 20 more feet, and my wife will pick out another one. And she's like, oh, put this one on. And
Does it just automatically fly up?
Yeah, and it automatically goes up. I don't have to run. Back when we were kids, we used to have to run and run and bring it up. No, the wind will take it. These kites that I have, they're pretty big, and they'll catch the wind pretty easy.
And so how do you hold it down?
Well, a lot of times I just use like a regular dog anchor, from the yard. It has like a screw on there, and you can just screw it into the sand, and it'll hold onto there. But some of my bigger kites, I have to fill up a 50-pound bag of sand, or even bigger. My biggest kite, I have to have it's a 500-pound
to get
bag
it
of sand
from flying away.
Yeah, to get it from flying away, because you don't want to lose a kite. I've lost kites before.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what got you into this or interested in doing that?
So I've been flying kites ever since I was a little kid. I remember in school we used to have little kite flying festivals at our school when I was first grade, I think, and
They
we'd
need to bring that back.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of
right. It was
that
great
at school.
Yeah, so we would do that, and we'd make our own kites, or kids would buy their kites, and my family was kind of broke, busted, and disgusted back then. So I made
Wait, what?
Broke, busted, and disgusted. You know, just poor.
I grew up very poor.
Yeah.
But what I mean,
So we learned how to make our own kites, you know, and so like I mentioned to you earlier, so I'd take bamboo and I'd, cut the bamboo and cut it in half and take the Sunday comic books paper and we'd glue it together. We'd steal some sewing thread from our parents and just go out there and
you're innovative.
fly the kites.
You're like, there's enjoyment in this, and no matter what it is, I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
And you did it.
Yeah.
In a way where I would never even know of how to make that happen.
And it brings me back to being a kid. Even now when I fly kites, it's just I have that feeling that's like, it's a calming feeling that I could go out there and just sit there. Nobody bothers me really. I mean,
except me when I come up to you.
I mean, when I get crazy, I want to be bothered. I like attention. And to be, the center of attention, you put the
literally
put the big kites up in the air and
wow,
just fly them.
The mayor has to bring an event to where they acknowledge you.
I would love for the mayor to have a kite festival. That would be great. The
mayor needs to do that.
Yeah.
A call out to the Neptune Beach, Jack's Beach, Atlantic Beach mayor.
Sure.
I really think that you need to understand that Eddie flies some of the most beautiful, biggest kites, and his wife I have ever seen. And being here at the beach, it just makes it a happy place. No matter what kind of problem you're going through or difficulty you're struggling in life, something as simple or as big as a beautiful kite can sometimes cut through all of that layer of heaviness, let's say.
Sure.
Where you just feel the weight kind of come off your shoulders. And
Yes.
I instantly just felt like there are 50-pound weights on my shoulders just fell off. And
Right.
all I'm looking at is this amazing, beautiful kite. And I'm like, how did this man get this in the air?
Yeah, it's
And why
hypnotizing.
did he do it? You
Yeah.
know?
I do it for, sometimes, people think that I might just do it for myself. I want to go out there and, like I said, I'd like to be the center of attention, but I like to do it for everybody else too. I like to put the kites up and I love to see the reaction off of people's faces. I love to see how far they walk from, just like when you walked by, you came all the way from here, all the way towards Myrtle and, to talk to me,
check it out.
just to check it out. And I've had people come from the pier, walk all the way, and they're like, "Where is these kites? Who's flying these kites?" And sometimes they'll walk right by me because they're not thinking that, who's
You're a
this guy?
celebrity.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
Yeah,
you.
everybody.
You're Neptune Beach Kite King.
Kite King, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is something that, because it's such a euphoric feeling to see. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it brings like a euphoric energy when you see these magnificent kites flying.
Dude.
What in you do you feel like, what dark moment in your life brought you to a point to where you feel this light?
Well, I've had plenty of dark moments in my life, and what it does for me is it grounds me, keeps puts me in the present moment, takes me away from all the stress and daily life that daily life brings to you. It's an amazing thing. It just, like I said, it brings me back to my childhood. It keeps me grounded. I'm not there looking at my cell phone or nothing. I'm there. I'm present in the moment. I'm listening to the waves crash, smelling the salt air, watching the sky. It's just, that's my peace, just like making bread.
You were the first guest on a podcast that's ever, like I said, when you first came, that's ever baked bread, sourdough bread, and brought it over as a gift. And I can't thank you enough for that.
Well, I'm fairly new at making sourdough bread. And so I've been messing around and I was like, well, let me bring some bread for you, see what you thought of it. And I give it to all my friends anyways. So
you said this, how did you get into making sourdough bread?
So I had foot surgery and I was laid up on the couch, and my couch is right next to my kitchen, and so that was the only places I could go to the restroom or I could go to the kitchen, and so I'd be YouTubing how they made sourdough bread, and I was like, well, I could do that, and I just started getting into it. And once I start on something, it's just I go
Keep going
I
with
go
it and
I go
going.
overboard with it. I'm like, oh, I got to be the best at it.
That's really cool. Well, you definitely
Yeah.
are the best of it. You have one here. What's this one right here?
That is an espresso chocolate chip sourdough, and then we have
Beautiful.
the rosemary garlic Asiago cheese, and then I have bacon jalapeno cheddar sourdough.
And that is an offering of love. In the Italian family, that is an offering of love to bring food over to someone's house.
So it's hard to go to somebody's house empty-handed for me. So, I mean, usually, you bring, drinks or, flowers to somebody. But now that I'm doing this, I just bring as many breads as I can. And
that's so kind of you, Eddie. Thank you so much.
So that was fresh baked this morning.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Good. I hope you enjoy it.
It's one of my favorite things is sourdough bread. So I know I very well will. Going back to your childhood, something that I want to dive a little deeper into is you said that, you made a reference of being broken poor.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that come from, being broken poor.
Right.
And when you're waking up and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you just seem you can never get ahead in life.
Right.
Things like flying a kite and things like, Scotty Cousins, who's come on the show that makes, like that little Scotties, he says, where it just makes someone smile so they see the eyes and stuff like that to get your attention off of the heaviness of life. I just have so much respect for people like you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I mean, what I'm trying to do is break down that barrier so people feel like that heaviness or their back lining behind their life doesn't define their entire existence.
Right.
Like you said, you can still go out to the ocean. You can smell the salt air. You can see the sunshine. Yes. You can see this beautiful kite. Right. And you can know that it's a beautiful day. Yes. And we're coming up to 4th of July here at the beach. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And does that to you, is that seem like it's enough?
For me, it's enough. Living here in our small town is enough. To me, I am content in life, living like this for the rest of my life. This is enough for me. I like to give back to the community. I've always dreamt of living at the beach. Ever since I was a little kid, my parents used to take me to the beach. And I would always tell them, like, one of these days, I'm going to live at the beach. And
you knew that as a little kid?
As a little kid, yeah. I wanted that lifestyle. I felt it when I went to Newport Beach in California, and we would go and get Laffy Taffies or get that saltwater taffy or eat ice creams, custards, and walk the boardwalk. And my parents would just leave me to play in the water for hours, and they'd go hang out, and we'd take walks in the evening, walking by people's houses, seeing them sit outside on their porches. And, to me, I was envious of these guys. I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to live like this. And I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to be able to live like this. And I'll never squirrel. What do you call it? Squirrel. Yeah. I'll
squander it.
I'll never squander it away. I'll just always be, this is my place.
That's beautiful that at a moment in your childhood, you had this distinct memory of complete, beautiful, free, loving, peaceful environment that was captured in your head that you knew as an adult you wanted it back. Yeah. And you found it and you got it.
Yeah, it took me a long time, but I got it. And I'm happy with it.
In between that time, can you fill me in? So we know the time when your mom and dad introduced you to Newport Beach, one of the most beautiful beaches on the West Coast.
Sure is.
It is just absolutely a paradise of its own, to where you had these magical moments that really, even someone poor can enjoy some of the most fantastic places.
Right. Yeah.
And so in between that time, what am I missing?
Well, I joined the military when I was young. I graduated high school early, and my mom right away, she signed me up. She had the recruiter come by to the house, and she signed me up, and I didn't know that I was going to go into the military, but she signed me up, and I went straight into the Army. I went to basic training. They sent me overseas right away after basic training. I spent 7 years in Europe and came stateside for the last 5 years of my deployments. And from there, I was an over-the-road truck driver that I
For the
traveled.
military?
So, no, in the military, I was a truck driver also. But when I got out of the military, I was an over-the-road truck driver, and I had a small child at that time, and I'd be gone for 6-7 weeks at a time before I'd be able to come home. And then finally, that didn't work out for us. And then I moved to Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and then from there, I met a girl, and she moved out here, and I followed her out here, and it didn't work out between her and me, and I met my wife shortly after that, and it's been paradise ever since. It's just, I love it.
What was that like being in the military? Thank you for your service, by the way.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I'd do it all over again for everybody. But it was, high demand, it was high demand job. I played many roles in the military, and it was just, it was a great thing for me being a young man going into the military, especially at 17 years old, coming from Southern California. It was gang infested, drug infested, and I could have really went down the wrong path. But thank God my mom, she's, took the time to say, hey, no, you're going into the military. You're not going to college? Okay, we're going to go into the military. And so I went into the military, and it changed my life. I wouldn't have been able to do half of the things that I did in my life without the military, being able to travel, being able to experience new things, experience new people. It grew my life more. And it gave me a sense of, how to work, how to be a man, how to take care of myself, how to do the things that you have to do in life just to survive, how to take care of a family.
That's a really good point. You learn all those kind of like basic things, in the
things,
military that you carry with you the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like Lancaster is kind of an area, in LA that, is more like on that gang, very difficult time where a lot of people don't get the luxury to escape it.
Right.
They're stuck in that environment. Trapped.
Right.
What did you see in there that you were like, my God, I just do not want to get trapped in that?
Well, I was running around with a lot of the bad crowds. I was doing drugs. I was selling drugs. I was running around with gangbangers and, trying to find my niche where I fit in with everything. And I saw myself getting carried away really quick. And so that was when I finally said, I was like, yeah, enough's enough. It's either this, either military, jail, or dead. So
my brother served, I think, like 10 to 12 years in prison. And I think it's really difficult when you experience that high of being, at the top of the gang where like you're the kingpin, you decide what happens. It's almost like a liberating feeling, And so how did you not get drawn into that? Because it's very lucrative. Selling drugs is very lucrative. And so you go back to the real world where it's hard work and you're like, wow, like why wouldn't everyone be wanting to do this?
Sure. I mean, it instills, doing all them bad things, instills a sort of a hustle for yourself you can change that into a good way to where you're, all right, you're not only hustling now for the money, now you got to hustle for your family. You got to be, not, when I say hustle, I mean not selling drugs or anything, but just hustle, work. You're going to have to work 60, 70 hours a week. And that's how it has to be to have that little bit extra income that you might need in life instead of selling drugs. Because, like you said, your brother served time. My son served 12 years in jail also. So I reflect back on everything. I'm like, wow, it's kind of tough, that you have to do whatever you can to provide for your family and everything. And then a lot of people, they get drawn back into it. They find a good deal where they can make money and stuff. And it's, all money's not good money.
What's the biggest lesson you learned from being in that environment?
Just to change my perspective. It's, I used to enjoy people that are, friendly, smiling, happy. In the gang affiliation, a lot of people are hard and ruthless and, you can't show no emotion or anything. And that's not the way I am. I'm a very emotional person that, I love to embrace my friends. I love to, I like to be nice.
That's awesome. I can tell it
I like to be nice.
Just from meeting you.
Yeah. So,
and that first day, I could just feel the warmness from you.
right.
And just it's amazing that you have from that environment, you were able to blossom into such a beautiful person.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
just
you.
I
Yeah.
admire you and look up to you for that.
Thank you. I
Because it's
appreciate
not
that.
easy. And you probably have a lot of friends and family that were not able to do so.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
With your son that you mentioned, how are you emotionally dealing with that?
Well, he just got out of prison. He did 12 years in prison, and he was addicted to drugs and everything. And that was part of the reason why I left out of Texas also, because that was a pretty bad environment also out there. But just to see him and go and visit him weekly in jail, it emotionally drained me. It took everything that I had in my soul out. And, I felt like a terrible father because, he didn't go in the direction that I wanted him to go. And